How you doing? It's Bob here, Odin's Lock. Today I'm going to be messing around with some interchangeable core. I have the cylinder eater that allows you to drill interchangeable core, lug. Well, you control the control or the shear line. The problem is when you have something that you're drilling for the control lug, it actually will run the piece of hardware you have. So what I am going to do is I'm going to propose that possibly we can drill for the control lug but within the core itself. And my proposal is, my hypothesis is, and I haven't done this before, so this is the first time. We're going to see. I'm playing around. You know, what I have is several lever locks that are interchangeable core. I don't have the key to the control or the general change key or the master. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my figures here correct and see if there's a way to drill just the core. I don't care about it's like if I lose the lever, that's fine. You can actually buy a lever handle all by itself, you know. So if you do scrap a lever handle by itself, no big deal. You can still change that without changing the whole series. But these are best 9K series levers, and they're pretty expensive. So what I would like to do, and my personal desire is to find a way to create the control key or any of the masters that would fit the actual interchangeable core. So if I use my cylinder eater, I run that opportunity because it will chew out the inside, you know, so you can't decode the cores. Or, you know, you can do the control lug, but then you run the hardware, you know, and you can replace. But even like I got several of these best interchangeable core padlocks, and I was able to figure out these by chewing this one up. I scrapped one and I saved the rest of them, and some of these I think I already had. But if you ever come across this, so here's what I'm suggesting, it might be possible, is let me set this camera up right here. I got a mess, by the way. So, as usual, I shouldn't even have to say, you know, it's just going to be like that. What I'm going to suggest is, if you use a 9th or a 3/16 drill bit, as you normally would anyways to drill, you know, the pins, you can do that, or you can go bigger if you want. But I've done these in the past where you've drilled these, and so really what you're doing is you're drilling above this here. If you do above the E, I believe, between the E and the S, that's what they do. And so that's where you're kind of hitting to get your shear line. You might be able to save some of your pins in here, but sometimes, you know, it's just it's a free-for-all. You just run it, you know, going through, and sometimes the shear or the master wafers are in there mixed up. So what I'm suggesting is if you take your 3/16 drill bit and you divide, you know, you figure out the decimal part of this. I don't know if this is going to show up. My lighting's kind of wonky. So 3/16, you know, that's 0.1875. And then you divide that in two, so that's 0.09375. Now here's a one I'm going to have to practice with. So then you take that and you go in here, right there, and then you scribe your little mark. And that'll be your little mark right there. If you can see it, if it shows up right there, right about the 11 o'clock position of the keyway. You know, there's 12 o'clock and then there's 11 and 10 down here. It's right about 11 o'clock, and then that'd be your drill point. And so what you're trying to do, in my idea, is if I drilled that, I'm still going to miss the, I should be right on the outer face where the 10 o'clock would be. So I'm saving the hardware. I'm not drilling into this piece here. I'm hoping to drill along here, miss that crease enough to where if I can get back in there and I can hit that control and just take it completely off. And maybe this might work. I don't know. We'll find out. And just enough to where, you know, even if I go, I'll go in straight, but at some point I can kind of angle it to go to the sideways, you know, just a slight degree, just enough to where I get back here and I can chew this out. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Maybe I'll wind up chewing this up, you know. I don't want any slop, so that's kind of the other side of this, is when you do that, you don't want any slop. So let me see what it does, because if you look down inside there is let me turn this other light on here. This, I'm using my body cam, so it's kind of hard to see some of the lighting there, so you can see how far back it goes. This drilled that all the way down there and took that out. So the control lug itself. So I'm gonna see if I can do this. Hopefully save the pinning, and then that way I can let me see if my camera is doing something weird here. So if I save my pinning, save the hardware, and then I can still decode this. So let me see what it does. Alright, I'll be right back. Alright, so where I'm at, I'm going to go for that control lug. I've kind of got it set up a little bit, started, and I can kind of ease it out. The main thing is that I don't interrupt the pinning in here. This pin's messed up, speaking of pins. If I can just not mess with the pinning. So whatever I got to do to get that control lug off without running the hardware and messing with my internal pinning, that's what I'm going for. Maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't know if anyone else has tried this. And it's okay. So this is a 7-pin lock. And I already kind of marked it, so I know where my mark is, if I can see it. Yeah, right here. Barely see it. Let me get a piece of tape. Tape that up. Better safe than sorry. I'll tape it so I can keep tabs on where my mark is. Alright. Drill bit's slipping in there. Alright, so let's see what I got here. Probably not going to work, but it doesn't hurt to try. So I still save my pinning. See if I can kind of whip it around in there so I can get more of that control lug out. The ice is moving on me. Alright, let me see if I got a hook pick or something. I don't know if this will work. This may or may not work. I probably would if I had enough to. There, it did. Alright. So, how well did I do? My pins are still intact. So I bet if I dump that block, I'll have to see if I can dump it. That actually has the bitting right on it. That's good to know. I have picked this before. All my pinning's still in there. So let me see if I can dump that block real quick. Fascinating. Okay, let me take a look at this real quick. Get a flashlight where we can see. Here, I'm trying not to move the camera too much because it's irritating. Alright, so a little bit of scarring in there probably will be alright. Let me get another interchangeable cord plug, put it in there and see if that will still work. Hold on just a second. Yep, it will still work. So there's I don't actually have this pinned up. I'm just doing this just to, so that will actually work. So good. So now we know I can actually reuse this hardware. I got it. So yep, it doesn't flop around either. So that's perfect. So now hopefully, let me see if I can dump this pinning and see if it will work. Or I can actually decode it. Alright, be right back. Alright, well, full disclosure, I kind of screwed up. I hit the button to record and I messed up and it didn't record. So I don't know what I did on the menu. But let me go back to the last part where it showed that the lock will still work in this. It does allow you to still reuse this. I would probably suggest you go maybe try not to get into the sidewall as much as I did for that. And then I was able to dump the block, which dropped all my pins, and it dropped it into this here. So that's the pins, and the pins are still good. They're still. I can see how when if you look at the block itself, I'm going to get a closer view of this pin block. But anyways, it was 6 pin. I don't know why I put something into the keyway to see how deep it was, and showed like it was 7 pin. But anyways, so it was 6 pin. But you can see where I started getting into the pins right in here, but it didn't mess them up. I was able to. You see them? They're not really damaged. There is a little bit of a piece right there where it kind of rubbed into maybe that one, but the lengthwise is fine. I can still measure the length, so I'm still good on that. And so with that, I'm able to do what I need to do. That was all part of the plan, was to be able to measure the pins, and so then you can determine the master pins. If you need what your control key would look like, and there's a formula you can do. It's like what is it, 23 times 13, or 23 minus 13 is your control. It's something like that. I don't remember off the top of my head. It's been so long since I messed with these, but it only got into the first 2 or 3 pin stacks right there, and it didn't mess up the rest of them. It didn't even mess up the length of them, so it just kind of got in the side. But I can still measure it, so that gets me to the ballpark what I need. So probably could possibly use a smaller than a 3/16 drill bit, because once you get into the angle, go at that 11 o'clock, and then that way you'll miss the actual hardware itself. Let me close this up so we don't spill. I'm going to use that for another project. But so you can get into that, and it doesn't appear that I did any real damage to this. I can feel back there the control log is still there. I don't know if you can see that. It's still going to work. As this personally here, I'll probably, because I went a little too far out there. But as far as the concept of what I was trying to do, you want to be able to save your hardware, and you want to be able to decode your pin stack. The cylinder reader took it out here. You had several different options, but you never was able to decode this without destroying the hardware. So that's good. And I wish the cylinder reader, maybe that lug control, that's actually what I used that caused this. Is you would scrap out one piece. If you had like 30 doors and you can afford to sell them one lever or one knob or something, then you would go ahead and do that, and then pull your core out and decode it. But if you don't want to do that, I guess you don't really have to. You can just try to take out that control log from between the pin stack and the outer part of the hardware, or the part of the hardware that would hit it. So you can see down inside there where that hits. I'm gonna use my webcam or my body cam. Hopefully it still works. But yeah, there's a control log right there. You still able to do what you need to do. So works good. So perfect. Alrighty, that's all I had for this video, and hopefully you got to see what you need to see. This, I can't tell. I have an LCD screen on this body cam, but it's hard to tell the lighting, how it's going to look. Also, what I went over in the last clip that I thought I've recorded, but it didn't, I talked about this. So CLK Supplies makes these. You can use software. You can do the sheets. You can figure out whatever you want. Sometimes it's just hard to come up with the ideal first keys. For your what you want to do for your control key and your user key, your change key. But if you need to do a Grandmaster, you can expand from that. But sometimes it's hard to know where to start. When someone says I want an interchangeable core, system put in, and when you get into software, you can do a random where it automatically generates. But sometimes you just give me a bidding. Just start somewhere that I know is going to fit, and then you can do whatever you want. within that, and then you can do the paperwork or the math. And CLK Supplies actually has videos on how to do that. And there's other places. I had to go to the best class a long time ago, back when Stanley owned them. They had a place here in Kansas City that we used to go to send our people, and so I learned all that on how to do the key bitting array. But it's kind of stuff that, unless you do it all the time, for like me, I don't do institutional locksmithing anymore. Years ago I did, and I had it all pretty down pat, where I knew what I was doing. But these days, they say your memory is the second thing that goes. Thank goodness, and I don't remember the first. But so CLK Supplies is like $7, maybe $9. I don't remember. If you buy over $150 worth of different things, you free shipping. But I'm not advertising for them. I'm just saying they do supply this. Just you can, whatever keyway you want, they put on the A keyway, and you can just duplicate that to whatever keyway you want. And then it gives you everything you need. There's your working key bitting, there's your control key bitting, and then there's your pinning on how to pin it. So with that, I think I will get off here. Hopefully that shines better. I got weird lighting in this step in. So, alright, thanks for watching. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.